fellas, let's do it. Let us do it. So we are now officially live. So for like the second time in 4 or 5 weeks, I've started off for about a minute or two. This time, luckily, not as long. I hit the go live button, but then apparently you have to go back to YouTube for it to load. Normally it doesn't do that, but sometimes it does that. So now we are officially live. We are not fashionably late or anything, but I talked to myself for about a minute or so. But it's an exciting slate. It's an exciting slate. There's not $1 million to first, but there's $1.5 million in prizes tonight. So you got to watch me sort through that, if that was a thing or not. NBA projections were just updated an hour until lock. Lots of good stuff going on tonight. Welcome in to close off the finishing touches. What's up, everybody? I see Tyler. I see Steven. I see all the fellas up in the chat right now. The ladies, fellas. Coop, what's going on? How you doing? Let's close it up. Let's close it up with the questions that you guys have. Some exciting news about Underdog Fantasy. They're now going to give you a 100% match up to $100. So if you have not yet signed up for that, we can talk about some props over there tonight. Underdog prize picks. We got props everywhere. If you're following on Twitter, you can see that. But yeah, exciting news. Way better deposit bonuses now on Underdog compared to the $10 for free they were giving you on your first deposit or your first entry. Now it's up to $100. So that's very good because most people, you put 20, you put $50 in, and now you get smacked with 20 or 50 right back. So that's good to see. Sal goes to the club with that shirt. He bringing all the 10. Captain probably won't get even big GBV. Don't got enough lineups. What's going on, John? How you doing, OG? What up? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? What do you suggest as the plays, says John Roy. John Roy, how you doing? Let's settle down. Let's see how everybody's day is going first, and then we'll settle into the slate. How's your day going, John? Mine's going good. Thanks for asking, right? The plays for today, yeah. I mean, let's talk about some stuff, right? Let's talk about what we're looking like here. Just love your content, says, hey, I appreciate you, what's good? What's going on? Love this slate. I like this slate a lot, too. Yeah, I mean, it is official now that Traquan Smith has been elevated and is going to play and is expected to play. There's a lot of good plays in this slate. Now, there's like the elephant in the room that Alvin Kamara is going to be damn near 100% owned today. Like, if you're playing in any contests that are $100 buy-in or higher for some of the people out there, he's going to be 95 to 98% owned, right? In a lot of those. Even in the Millie Maker tonight, the $1.5 million to first. He's still going to be very highly owned. I'm struggling getting solid Kamara captain lineups. Yeah, Kamara is going to be the best captain option tonight. It's tough not to want to go to Kamara. If you're not going to Kamara, the quarterbacks, DK Metcalf, those are the types of guys that look okay. Lock it to an extent, but not really. Yeah, the only thing bad about this slate is the fact that you're kind of forced to play Kamara captains. Now, Kamara captains are not going to be the majority of the time the winners, so that's at least one thing you have going for you, but trying to pick that other guy who has a higher chance is very difficult. Like, I'd say Kamara is the captain about 35% of the time. If you played this slate out 1,000 times, I'd say 350 times it's Kamara. So when you hear that number and you say, wait, 350 times, 650 times it's somebody else? Yeah, but you're playing percentages here. The next closest guy is probably like Geno Smith at like 7%, right? Or DK at like 7%, or Jameis at like 7%. Like, those guys, it's really difficult then, because I'm going to tell you, those guys are in it 70 out of 100 times, then that Kamara number of 350 looks more appealing, right? So Kamara is, Sal, the shirt is fucking wild. I appreciate it. Or would it? Thank you. I'm good, Sal. Thanks for asking. Yeah, no problem. Every time I check out the winning lap, it's seldom somebody cute as captain. Pick somebody from solid DK or Alvin, go from exactly. Look. I always try and tell you guys this. The captains, and even flex plays, it's seldom somebody cute. It's seldom somebody cute in the flex play. Oh, it's the backup tight end scoring a touchdown. But we knew he was going to run 15 routes. Like, if Will Dissly scores 12 points today, he doesn't look like a good play. But if he scores 12 points, has 4 catches and a touchdown in 20 yards, nobody's shocked, right? It's rarely a cute play. It's rarely the Penny Harts in the winning lineups. It's rarely the Philip Dorsetts in the winning lineups, right? Or this Garrett Gilberts or whatever the hell his name is. Gilbert Garrett, whatever his name is, right? So, yeah. You don't got to get cute on the captain. You don't got to get cute anywhere. It's most nights for me, there's 3 to 5 captains that are viable. There's 3 to 5 captains that I'm running in the captain spot. I am running tonight 5 potential guys to get in the captain spot. And I'm basically getting, a lot of Kamara, 52% Kamara. I'll be above the field there. I have Geno, Jameis, DK, and Marquez Callaway. And I'm barely getting any DK or Marquez Callaway in the captain. You nailed the Beasley captains. Who's going to be the captain this week, or the Beasley guy this week? Yeah, so Beasley was a unique situation where everybody's down on Beasley because he's had 1 bad game, really, like 1.5 bad games for the Bills. Had 2 13-target games in 2 of the 4 games before that. He's clearly a big factor of this offense and a really good offense and a good matchup. Like, Beasley was a clear and obvious great leverage play. But if you're trying to find that clear and obvious leverage play on this slate, if you're talking about in the captain spot, I don't think that you're going to see enough ownership on Kamara. So it's odd to say this, but Kamara might be the best leverage captain tonight. Like, Kamara should probably be in the captain spot 50% on tonight. He won't be. In some of your contests, he might be. If you're playing in the $200, the $2,000 contest, like he's going to be. Those guys are sharp. If you're playing in the $3, the $10, the $15, the $12, whatever it is, the $1, the 25-cent, like Kamara is going to be 30% owned tonight. He should be 50. So there's going to be a lot of leverage on Kamara. He's probably the best leverage captain play. Other than that, maybe the defenses, maybe Kenny Stills, although I don't think he gets in the captain spot more than like 2% of the time. So yeah, I mean, the best leverage play today is the best play in the slate, Alvin Kamara. He's not going to be as highly owned as he should be. That sounds weird to say, but it's true. Other than that, the defenses, but you're rarely going to find me playing a defense in the captain spot, so it's tough to want to get there. Leverage plays that aren't in the captain spot, just looking for leverage elsewhere. I do think Geno Smith will be really good leverage. Only 10 fantasy points last time out. This is going to be a better matchup for him. Not great, not insanely better, but a better matchup for him in general in terms of the pass rush he'll be facing. So Geno Smith, I think that he's going to give you a little bit of leverage. I think Kenny Stills won't be as highly owned as he should be. Stills should probably be close to 35-40% owned. He won't be like that in most contests tonight. So there's some leverage there. Kickers will always have some leverage, but not a lot on them. Adam Trautman, I think, gives you a little bit of leverage, things like that. So do you still like Stills today? Yeah, I like Stills. I think that Stills and Adam Trautman still look like really, really good plays. I'll pull it down to this part right here, where you can start to see that Stills and Trautman are still yeses for me down in this range. This shirt is the one that on the small YouTube screen looks like a unicorn, but where it's proportioned on real TV, it does not. Yeah. I remember we talked about it last time. Devontae Adams got COVID. Yeah, I saw he needs to test negative the next 2 days. Doesn't look good for his chances of playing. Makes the Thursday night showdown slate a little bit more interesting, I would say. Throws a wrench into it. Gives the Packers odds of winning not great, as that line already has moved a good amount. Do we play Traquan now? How about Stills and Trautman? Stills, Trautman, Traquan, they all look good. They all look good. Traquan is going to be interesting to see his role tonight, but he's way too cheap. Traquan will give you some leverage as well. I don't think people will be as high on Traquan. I should, based on the ownership that I'm currently getting, Traquan's actually going to move up to a yes for me. Traquan is the best play if you're looking in this range of, let's call it, basically anybody from any players from $2,000 to the $8,000 range. Traquan's the best play. He's a better play than Callaway when you factor in the price. Much better play than Collins. Better play than defenses. Better play than Everett in the kickers. Better play than Disley. It's pretty easy to be the best play in that range. Especially when I think Traquan tonight plays out of the slot a good amount. I don't know if he'll play in 2 wide receiver sets, but out of the slot, runs 20-25 routes at $4,800 for an athletic player. Going to be a little bit too low owned. I like it. What about Traquan being activated? Yeah, I like Traquan. Traquan looks good tonight. This is a death range. Like, look at this range right now. You have Tyler Lockett, a fine play. Callaway's a fine play, but if I'm factoring in value, like Callaway doesn't look that great at 8,600. Collins looks pretty terrible with 4 running backs likely to be active tonight. You get an overpriced defense, a running back where there's 4 running back actives, and DJ Dallas is already 5K. Like, Traquan Smith is easily a solid play. Gerald Everett is splitting time with Will Disley. I mean, Gerald Everett's a more athletic player than Will Disley, but they're 19 routes for Everett last week, 18 for Disley. Like, they're basically splitting time. That's not great. Then there's the kickers. You know what to say about kickers. They're fine. They'll get you 6 to 8 points. Some nights they'll get you 12. You never guess which nights those are, right? And yeah, I mean, after that, it's just some kind of shitty plays. So yeah, I think that Traquan is a very strong play tonight. Like, this is a fun slate. This is a fun slate tonight. The only thing that makes it not so fun is you're kind of almost forced to play Kamara in the captain spot. If you're playing in small field contests, it's really difficult to get away from Kamara captain. Like, the only way that it burns you completely is if he gets hurt, right? And I know it happened with McCaffrey earlier in the year, but I think we can all say that those are low chances. What is my projection on Traquan today? I've got Traquan for around 7 fantasy points. Look, it's hard to go higher on that. Traquan Smith in general only averages 7.4 fantasy points per game in his entire career, right? His entire career. Now he's got Jameis on what seems to be a run-first offense in bad weather. He's coming off of an injury, so it's hard to have a good projection on Traquan. But at 7 fantasy points is a median projection for a $4,800 player with a ceiling that's clearly higher than that if he scores a touchdown. Like, if he scores a touchdown tonight, he's going to score you 10 points at minimum, which is going to beat everybody else in that 4K range, right? Smash the like button, people. Hit it. Collins was hurt. How much do you like him tonight? I mean, he was hurt during the week. Yeah, he didn't practice during the week. He is expected to play. I don't know how you can like Collins tonight. I don't know how you can do so. I didn't even like Collins that much last time in his matchup, but they came out in the second half and said, oh, okay, Geno Smith isn't the answer against the Steelers. We need to just force the run. And he played fine, right? He got into the end zone. That's kind of what made the night for him. Just hit the 100-yard bonus barely. But yeah, I don't know how you like Collins tonight. Rashad Penny is now active. DJ Dallas showed in that last game that he is going to be the pass-catching back on this team. 5 catches on 5 targets. If they activate Travis Homer tonight, they're going to have 4 running backs active, and Geno Smith is actually yet to show off his legs in 1.5 quarters of play or 1.5 games of play. That might actually happen if he rushes for 20 yards tonight. That's a lot less than Collins gets. So yeah, I don't really like Collins tonight. I don't like him anywhere tonight. I actually took Collins right now, his under receiving yards, which is a small number, but under 6.5 receiving yards. I think that Homer and DJ Dallas are out there more on passing downs. I even think Rashad Penny's out there more on passing downs. So I think Collins is going to be firmly a first and second down back tonight. So we're going to take the under 6.5 receiving yards for him. We just hope that they don't set up one screen that goes for 10 yards, right? That's basically what we're trying to avoid here. But this is on Underdog. I have these 2 picks in play today. 2 picks, $300 play. Jameis, I have over 17.5 completions and under 6.5 receiving yards on Collins. If you want to take this one, it's on Underdog. It's very similar to Prize Picks, except a little bit different in different ways. Underdog is usually a better spot to get unders on. They don't. Prize Picks doesn't have the Alex Collins prop, by the way. Better spot to get unders on. Prize Picks is a better spot to get overs on. They usually put their numbers lower. Underdog, the opposite. But Underdog, as of today, literally right before I came on this, and I got an email. Any deposit, if you use the code SAL, matched up to $100. So it's similar to the Prize Picks deposit match now. So if you put in $50, you get 50 back instead of just the $10 that they were doing before that, which is way better for everybody involved there. Is having $1,400 left too much? No, not at all. Callaway and DraftKings for sure today. Callaway is my 4th highest projected player on DraftKings, and he has a 1.7x multiplier, which is higher than the other guys ahead of him. So yeah, Marcus Callaway looks like a really good SuperDraft play today. In large fields, couldn't you say you actually can gain leverage by more Kamara captains in your lineup? Yeah. If you have more lineups, right? If you're playing one lineup in a large field tournament tonight, you should not be playing Kamara captain. You need to try and get as much leverage as in that one lineup as you can, because people who have 150 lineups are going to absolutely dominate you every single time you play with one lineup. That's why I don't recommend anybody play the $1.5 million to first contest tonight if you're only going to enter 1, 2, or 3 lineups. The only way you should play that is if you personally say, I know I'm going to lose this money. I don't care. This is the same as me spending money on the movie theater. I get entertained. I get a little sweat. That's fine. But if you actually are trying to win money here, and if you're watching this, I think you're more inclined to than the normal casual making lineups on his toilet, right? If you're that person and you're playing in 150 max contests tonight with one lineup, you should not play Kamara captain. You need to get leverage in that one lineup somehow, way more than everybody else has. You should not be playing him. You might even consider completely fading Kamara. That's probably your best chance to win a 200,000 person contest. If you're playing 150 lineups in 150 max today, or like 70 or more, yeah, now you can start to get leverage on the field by playing 100% Kamara and 100% Kamara captain when he's only going to be 30% owned in a lot of those contests in the captain spot. He'll be 90-something% owned overall. How much does Patreon cost, and do you have any codes or promos? I would like to have codes or promos for Patreon. I unfortunately do not. I would like to run some, like Halloween and Christmas and all these types of deals. I unfortunately can't. As of right now, Patreon doesn't offer that. I didn't build a website. Patreon is a service that I get to use, and I pay them 5% of my overall revenue, so I can use their platform. It's a very good platform. But here's the link. In terms of price, they range. The packages range $25 to $50, depending on the tier that you want. You get 2 months free if you sign up for a full year. But that offers more than just NFL, depending on the package you choose. NBA projections are up with an optimizer for all the sports I cover. MMA, MLB, which is about to end. PGA, optimizer, ownership, projections, rankings, a lot more for NFL. I'm still here, but I make lineups on the shitter. I think we've all been there. Yeah, of course, I do too. Or at least I edit and tinker some things. But I'm talking about those guys literally 2 minutes before lock. That's the only thing they're doing. I tinkered myself off 2 minutes before lock on the opening slate, Dallas Cowboys versus Tampa Bay Bucks to start the year. I tinkered myself off of $120,000 in the luxury box. I took out Gronk, who scored 2 touchdowns, and put in Ronald Jones, who fumbled and got negative points, I think. And that cost me, I finished one place out of cashing in that contest, the luxury box. It's $2,000 buy-in, $100,000 first. If I would have kept in Gronk, I would have won $100,000. 2 minutes before lock in a bar bathroom. Brutal. Captain ideas besides Kamara today. Yeah, the quarterbacks, DK Metcalf, that's kind of about it for me. I'm not fully against Marquez Callaway or Kenny Stills there. They can catch a deep touchdown, right? That's what you're kind of hoping for them. But mainly the quarterbacks and DK Metcalf. I'm not fully against Lockett. I'm just not getting there. Both quarterbacks in one lineup signed up for Patreon trying to figure out the optimizer. Yeah, there's tutorials for the optimizer on the page where the optimizer is linked on every single post that I have for NFL and for NBA, depending on what you're using. I assume NFL for this. And there's some tutorials linked to that. But both QBs in one lineup is completely fine to me. As of right now, total ownership on Geno Smith for me is 57%. Total ownership on Jameis Winston for me is 48%. So I'm sure I'm getting overlapped there for sure. Any updates to the projections from this morning? I haven't updated anything. Nothing has changed. We got verification that Traquan Smith is going to play. I don't believe we got anything that I should feel negative about. So nothing else. We'll see what happens with the actives and inactives. If we end up seeing no Travis Homer active, it's not going to change much in the projections, but it'll mean there's only 3 running backs active for Seattle. Looks a little better. You tinkered me off of Damian Harris yesterday, but I still have your content, and I'm $1 Rooskies. Well, glad to hear you $1 Rooskies. Yeah, Damian Harris, he had the nice first drive. He had the touchdown. A good overall game. That's going to happen, right? Damian Harris gets you there by having 120 yards and a touchdown and maybe catching a ball or 2. And that's what he did yesterday in a good matchup. That's fine. At 6% ownership. I wasn't fully against Damian Harris. I'm just not somebody who plays those plays long term, because you did not Here's the way you have to think. Expected value means your decisions over the long term win you money. So even when that specific day they don't win you money, they're still winning you money over the long term because you didn't try and make guess on the day that Damian Harris goes off. Damian Harris is going to have 3 or 4 good games this year, right? Because he's a strictly rushing running back, no real pass catching abilities. Yeah, he can catch a pass for 3 yards here and there, right? You trying to guess those days, you're going to lose a lot more money in the long run. Me just saying I'm not going to guess those days and I'm going to play instead DeAndre Swift and these guys who catch passes, right? I'm going to play a little bit of Khalil Herbert, 5% here and there. I'm going to play these guys instead. Long term, that's going to be a better decision. Expected value. You can use that mindset and that theorem in anything in life, not just in DFS play by any means. Your long-term decisions, right? Even if you're not winning in that specific moment, when you make those decisions long-term and start stacking them up, you will continuously win over the long term. Gronk got me too, Sal. Yeah, brutal. Lattimore fouled Metcalf. Metcalf's still big enough to win. I do not care about any matchup on Metcalf. Lattimore, here's the truth about Lattimore. He's a fine cornerback. He's not elite, right? I don't know if you saw earlier this year, DK Metcalf, he is the number 1 size speed specimen in the NFL. AJ Brown is right up there. Julio Jones is up there as well, right? This guy is 99 percentile size and speed. Nobody keeps up with him. Not a single cornerback in the NFL. Not a single cornerback. He toasted Jalen Ramsey a couple of Showdown slates ago. Toasted him. 2 touchdowns, 100+ yards. I don't care about any individual matchups. For most wide receivers, like most skilled wide receivers win for a reason. They're elite wide receivers for a reason. Nobody can defend him. Nobody in the entire world can defend Devontae Adams. Nobody inside of the world can defend DK Metcalf. 230 pounds of straight muscle. And oh yeah, he's also not only the biggest man on the field tonight, the fastest man on the field tonight. Absolutely insane. That's a cheat code. That's unfair. Sam donates $10 to the stream. He says, I turned $1,300 into $5,100 yesterday. $5,150 on SuperDraft. Great content. Been watching for years. I can't see a captain other than Kamara at 1.5x. Who else do you like on SuperDraft? Well, first of all, turning $13 into $5,100. That's why we recommend SuperDraft. You probably only faced 80% of the field and you fucking crushed it. So nice job, Sam. Captains on SuperDraft today, and we can look at this over on SuperDraft. Captain options on SuperDraft other than Kamara. Like, Kamara is going to be the highest projected guy over there. He looks great. Other than Kamara, I think that your best captain options are going to be either Geno Smith or probably Marquez Callaway. Those are the only other 2 captain options when you factor in their multiplier. I'll take Geno Smith's 1.35x multiplier over Jameis's 1.1. So Geno Smith or Marquez Callaway are the only other captain options I go to. And if you don't go captain on those guys, those look like the 2 next best flex plays. So SuperDraft looks really good there. You get a free $25 if you want to use the code SAL over there as well. Way to turn $13 into $5,100 fucking dollar Rooskies. Sal's Patrons are killing the dollar Rooskies. Yeah, yesterday was like maybe the best day in forever out of Patreon for people. Everybody was winning left and right. It was fantastic. DK is elite. He needs way more respect. He is elite. Yes. Everett or Disley today. Everett or Disley is really tough because they're basically playing the same role, but it's pretty clear that Everett is, like, they're both playing like 40 to 50% wide receiver. They're running the same amount of routes, at least last week, but Everett is clearly the better athlete, but he's kind of priced for that. Like, Everett's $4,400, right? And Disley is $3,400, so he's $1,000 less. I don't really like either guy all that much, to be completely honest with you. I'll take Everett just because he's the athlete. I have no Will Disley right now, and I have 24% Everett, so we'll go Everett, but neither of them really stand out too much. Sal, what's your thoughts on Ty Montgomery today? Yeah, the wide receiver converted to running back, converted back to wide receiver. It's hard to get there. It's hard to get to Ty Montgomery. He's in play in large field tournaments, nothing small field or mid-sized. He's $800, but it's so hard to get there when Kenny Stills and Adam Trotman are not that much more money, right? It's really hard to get to him. And you factor in that, yeah, Deontay Harris is out, but Traquan Smith is back. Kenny Stills is going to see an increasingly larger role here. Like, Ty Montgomery probably, if I had to guess tonight, sees 1 to 2 carries, runs 10 routes. You're hoping for 1 to 2 targets. Just better options overall in most contests. Sal dropping gems. There you go. Yeah, if this was a sunny fall day, this is a great analogy, but when you have Geno Smith draw on your ball, he cut in half. And the weather yesterday, I had both defenses and almost took it. Nice. 3 max 3 entry. Lock Kamara, captain or fade. 3 max 3 entry. How many people are in that contest? 3K in the entry, like 3,000 people. Yeah, Kamara's fine in the captain in all 3. How much playing time do you think Traquan gets today? Well, the fact that he was practicing on Thursday and Friday, apparently in limited on Thursday and then full on Friday, I think he's going to get his normal role. Now, I think he's going to play primarily in the slot. I don't know if he'll play in 2 wide receiver sets. I think that's more of Kenny Stills' role on the outside, but I wouldn't be shocked to see it. I think he plays his normal role. 60% of the snaps out of the slot, runs 20 routes. Yeah. Thanks, Sal. No problem. Give us those fire prize picks, please. Yeah, so in terms of props tonight, I currently have on Underdog over completions for Jameis, under receiving yards for Alex Collins. Basically, on any of these sites, use the code SAL, you get your first free bet up to $100. And then I have a lot on Prize Picks. They're all on Twitter, by the way. Everything's in a thread on Twitter. I have over fantasy points for Geno, over 4 receptions for Kamara. I took that one because I needed a little bit more juice on this one in terms of not wanting just to have all the quarterback props. Over completion 16.5, so we got a better number here on Prize Picks for the completions. And then over passing yards from this morning. I'm very tempted to take the under on Geno Smith's rushing yards, but with the bad weather today, with less of a pass rush, meaning more time for Geno Smith back there, meaning more opportunity for him to scramble if he gets through his progressions, I'm a little bit worried about that number. I don't think I want to hit it. But yeah, that's where I'm at on props. I think in props today, I think I have 500 in play in props across all sites. I have some props taken on DraftKings, things like that as well. So yeah. No weather mentions at all or updates on how this affects slate. Are you still confident on those overs for Geno and Winston on Prize Picks? Yeah, I mean, in terms of how the weather affects the slate, it's always going to be in the Vegas odds. We talk about this all the time. In terms of am I concerned about it affecting the quarterbacks, it's already priced in. Like, there's a reason why these quarterbacks are both projected to only throw for 200 yards on Prize Picks today, right? It's already priced in. I had them for the 220s. So I'm factoring in the weather, which by factoring in the weather, I mean I'm factoring in the point total here, right? The total has gone from 44 points to 41.5 points. So it has dropped 2 to 2.5 points depending on the site because of weather. It's not that drastic though. Like, this is a low total game. The point total has dropped by 2 points, 1 point for each team. That's not going to make my passing yards projections of the 240s for these guys drop down 40 to 50 yards. It's just not. So when the numbers come out at 201.5 yards that we got the betting opening numbers at, right? And 204 yards, whatever it was, it's already factored in, and it's factored in too much. As of this recording, 2 hours before the game, the totals for each team have only dropped by a point. The Saints have gone from 24.5 to 23, and the Seahawks have gone from 19 to 18 points implied. So 1 point per team, which is significant, right? Significant. The weather is definitely going to play a factor if it's dropping the total, but it's not the weather that we saw last night that dropped the total 5 points. It's not the weather that we were seeing Thursday night where the total, to an extent, or a couple Thursday nights ago where the total dropped 4 points, right? At least not yet. Do you like Trotman and Stills in the same lineup? Ideally, no. I'm not totally against it, though. Like, Stills can put up 12 and Trotman can put up 10 with a touchdown. But ideally, no. Stills or Juwan Johnson, Lockett or Callaway? I'll take Callaway and Stills. Do you like Trotman? I'll answer that one. Who do you have projected for more today? DK Metcalf or Geno? I have Geno for more. I have DK for a much higher ceiling. Nice shirt, Sal. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thoughts on the Saints onslaught in this lineup? Yeah, seems fine. Seems fine at 5-1. Sal, how about Kenny Stills? Kenny Stills looks good. He's the best play today in terms of the value plays. If I just factor in value today, Kenny Stills is my number one value play in the slate. So, yeah, he looks good. Looks really good. Sal, thoughts on Penn State? We are Penn State, yeah. Is Dorsett active? We'll find out in about 30 minutes. Even if he's active, he hasn't been running any routes. He's operating as the wide receiver 5 in an offense that doesn't even use 4 wide receivers, right? Barely uses 3 wide receivers. Disley or Trotman? I'll take Adam Trotman there, my man Aiden. Thanks for the super chat. The unicorn shirt is back, says Blake. Yes, it is. Who do you like for week 8 survivor pick? Yeah, it's too early, my man Jesse. I usually pick my survivor pick on Sunday morning, so it's way too early for me. Like, I get an idea of who I like based on the high spreads and try and pick one that I don't think a lot of other people will in case something wild happens in that game. But I don't know yet. It's way too early. We don't have to pick right now, right? What do we have for Callaway yards? Right around 50, a little bit under 50, like 48 point something, 49 point something. DJ Dallas question mark. Tough to really like DJ Dallas today. It's tough to find DJ Dallas in a lot of optimal lineups when he's $5,200, right? Like, there's so much value on this slate. Really difficult to ever see DJ Dallas making an optimal lineup. I think DJ Dallas will be overowned today. I think he's one of the worst plays on the slate. Yeah, really difficult to want to go to DJ Dallas. I would say some of the worst plays on the slate are guys like Rashad Penny. We don't know his role. He's not dirt cheap. There's 4 running backs likely active. DJ Dallas, Alex Collins. I think these are some of the worst plays on the slate. Travis Homer. Basically, all the running backs for Seattle are awful plays. Awful plays. Trotman or Johnson? I'll take Trotman. Hey, wasn't you roommates with Saquon? No, we went to the same college. He went to a close friend of mine who lived above me in college in our apartment. He was friends with Saquon from high school, or she was friends with Saquon from high school. So any like pre-games, he would be at. Not a lot of them. Like, I mean, he was a fucking football player who had other responsibilities, but like every 10 pre-games, he would be there probably. It was like 6 or 7 times. Yeah, big fucking dude. Sal, lowest price captain today. In anything small field single entry, I think I'm only playing Kamara in the captain spot. Lowest priced captain. I think you can play Kenny Stills in the captain spot, but it's not going to work out for you 95% of the time, right? Do you like the idea of creating 3 different narratives to enter in different? Yeah, the whole narratives thing, I understand it, SS. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's overhyped. I think if you're watching other people's content and they talk about it a lot, it's overhyped. Creating narratives, the narrative SS that you come up with, like the 3 narratives you come up with, I can create 20 narratives for that specific narrative. You think Jameis Jameis is going to throw a touchdown to Alvin Kamara. What does that lineup look like, right? And you build a lineup around that with the Saints winning by 40 points. You build something around that. And I could spin the exact same narrative a different way. I can say that exact same lineup can happen if it's a close game and this happens and this, right? The narratives are overrated. Just try and find leverage plays, as always. Try and find leverage plays and think about how the lineup makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. How it works together. If you have 3 Saints receivers, you probably need Jameis in that. It's very rare, unless Jameis gets hurt, that he's not going to be in a lineup like that. Maybe not on this slate because Jameis is expensive. But for example, like if you're playing Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf today, you probably should have Geno Smith in that lineup. Now, if you're playing just DK Metcalf, you don't need Geno Smith. But if you're playing Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Gerald Everett today, you probably should have Geno Smith in that lineup or take out one of those pass catchers. Because it's very rare that 3 Seattle guys, 2 who are expensive on this slate, are going to get there without the quarterback doing something. Without the quarterback throwing for 250 plus yards and a couple of touchdowns, right? Sal, Patreon for life. I love you, dude. How do I get the Sunday morning video, or is it a chat? I needed that in my life. Sunday morning. It's Patreon podcast. It's posted every single Sunday morning. Not a specific time. It depends on what time I'm getting up, depending on what I'm doing on Saturday night. But East Coast time, it's normally up by 8 a.m. East Coast time, 7 a.m. Central time over here. And yeah, it's just a podcast. It's about a half-hour podcast each Sunday morning talking about where I'm going. And this past week is as if I was reading it on Monday morning. I mean, we had a lot of Chiefs players, but we had 70-something% of our lineups, the Rams and Bucs stacks. Godwin 60% owned, Kupp 45% owned, 24% Van Jefferson, 30-something or 17% Robert Woods, all that shit. Mike Evans was only 5%, then we got him up to 12% before lock. That was good. Been an awful while since I've hit a live stream. What's going on, Sway? How you doing? Can you talk about Rashad Penny? I think Rashad Penny is arguably the worst play in the slate today. It's either him, Alex Collins. The worst plays in the slate today when you factor in price point and ownership, it's probably going to be either Alex Collins, Rashad Penny, or DJ Dallas. Basically, and Travis Homer up there as well. They're brutal. Rashad Penny's returning from injury in a backfield that has 3 running backs at best and likely 4 running backs active. He's not going to be the workhorse back with Alex Collins there. He's not going to be the pass catching back with DJ Dallas and Homer there. So, yeah, he's just stuck in this range where Rashad Penny probably sees 4 to 5 touches, and at his price point, he should be $200. If you had to pick one, Trotman or Stills. Sal, free bet on that total. You going over, under? Appreciate you. I took the under earlier in the week of this game. No, I didn't take the under. I took the under last night, and that last second touchdown, not last second, but 2 minutes left touchdown by the Colts burnt that one. But I don't have a bet on this. Over, under in this game, you should not touch. It is way too late. The total has moved too much. It's too efficient. I took the Saints -4 earlier in the week. That's the only bet I have on this outside of props. Got it. Leverage is the key. Thanks, man. Yeah, leverage is all that matters in DFS. Literally the only thing that matters. Some guy on Twitter yesterday, I basically put out there that people who played Matt Ryan yesterday, and then even worse, stacked Matt Ryan with Calvin Ridley, were like the biggest donkeys in DFS. Like, that's why DFS still has an edge. Because an 8% owned Matt Ryan, which was like the 6th highest owned quarterback on the slate, with no mobility, no ceiling, and a shaky floor, and the highest owned wide receiver in Calvin Ridley, who is pretty shown all season long that he does not have much upside with these low A.dot targets, that's a terrible combination. You're not getting any leverage, and you have little upside. What happened yesterday, Matt Ryan has 22 points, Ridley has 12.5. It's one of the worst plays in the slate at their ownership, probably the worst leverage. Somebody was saying, this isn't that bad of a play. I said, no, Matt Ryan's optimal chance of being the winning captain is about 3, or winning quarterback on this slate is about 3%. 3%. He's 8% owned today. You just don't play those guys ever. You don't play those guys because when it actually works out, that little chance of 3%, when it actually works out, you're not even getting paid out for it because triple the field has him. So that's all the numbers you need to know in DFS. What is their ownership projection? What is their actual optimal chance of being in a winning lineup, which factors in their price and their projection, their value, right? Top leverage plays. What players have the highest ceilings today? The highest ceilings on this slate is going to be Alvin Kamara and DK Metcalf. I think I have Lockett's ceiling significantly lower without Russ. It's just the ways he gets there is a lot tougher. So those are the highest ceilings on the slate. In terms of leverage, Alvin Kamara is the best leverage captain. He's not going to be as highly owned as he should be. In terms of the utility spot, you'll get leverage on Kenny Stills still. You'll get some leverage on Geno Smith. I think you'll get leverage, not a lot, but some on Traquan. The kickers sometimes offer a little bit of leverage. That's like the biggest leverage that I'm seeing for positive leverage reasons. So, yeah, I mean, Kenny Stills will give you some leverage. Geno Smith, a little bit on Traquan, and like some of the kickers. Maybe some Adam Trotman. Yeah. Everett or Jason Myers today? I'll go with the kicker. Yeah, I'll go with the. I don't normally say that. I mean, it's close, but I'll go with the kicker. Swain and Stills to get different in a large field. I mean, Stills won't get you different. Stills is going to be one of the highest owned players in the slate, which is fine, though, because he won't be as highly owned as he should. Freddie Swain, an okay play, but one that I'm not getting too much of. I wish it wasn't so blurry in the background. Yeah, too bad. Looks lovely. Have you said anything about Kevin White? I think he plays 0 snaps today, so I don't want any. Traquan Smith or Trotman, I'll take Traquan. Everett or Myers, I'll take Myers. Props of the night? Yeah. Props of the night on Underdog. You use the code SAL on any of these sites, any of these prop sites, you get a free bet up to $100. So Underdog's right here. I took Jameis over 17.5 completions, but the reason why I took this prop was more so because of Alex Collins. I want the under 6.5 receiving yards on Alex Collins. If he catches a pass today, we're hoping it's for like 3 or 4 yards. I don't think he's going to be involved in the receiving game with DJ Dallas and now Rashad Penny there. So that's the one I like there. And then we have a lot of props over on Prize Picks, mainly centered around the quarterbacks today. I like the over fantasy points for Geno, the over passing yards on Geno and Jameis. We got a nice number on Jameis at 201.5 earlier. I know the weather's in play. This is already factored into these numbers, and I still like it. Trust me, I know the weather's in play. Over 4 receptions for Kamara. So I got a bunch of props. Not a bunch. I mean, I got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total. 6 different ones. When I factor in props on DraftKings, I got about 8 or 9 props total today for about 500 Smackarooskies. When you said that about Ryan and Ridley, I went ahead on that one-off with Mike Gesicki and got the money. I went ahead on that one-off run back with Mike Gesicki, money fire. I don't know what that means. Which optimizer do you use with your Patreon subscription? One that I have created with a patron, a fellow patron who's an engineer, built this. We've been working on it for the past year. I am not an engineer, so he does all the engineering stuff, and I say this is what we need to happen. We need this feature to be able to do this and that, and I talk him through kind of so he can understand it, and it seems to be a good fit so far. We're at a really good spot. Haven't had any issues in a month or so. Would you stack Seattle? I mean, you can. I like Geno. I like Metcalf. I think Lockett's fine. I think Swain is not great, but if you get to him, whatever. Is Penny in play today? I think Rashad Penny is the worst play in the slate, so not for me. Callaway and Lockett or Traquan Smith and Metcalf? Traquan and Metcalf, that's a really good question, by the way. Do you want the number 2 receiver, number 1 receiver on the Saints? That's Callaway, number 1 receiver, and number 2 Lockett, or the opposite? Give me Traquan and Metcalf. Great question. I think a lot of people will be looking at that today. I think the answer is pretty clearly, for me, Traquan and Metcalf. One lineup and a 10x booster. What's going on, Dave? He says 35 people. Dave, was your birthday the other day? Was that you that said that? Or was that the other Dave? Fading Traquan in order to fit Geno, Lockett, and Metcalf. Thoughts? Got Swain and Stills instead. Yeah, it's fine. Just a lineup where it's Swain, Lockett, and Metcalf with Geno in a bad weather game seems tough. Because how does Swain get there? Swain has to score touchdowns to get there. And if Swain is scoring the touchdowns, it makes it a lot tougher for Lockett and Metcalf to both get there at their price points, right? Unless you get a Geno game where he's thrown for 280 yards, 2 to 3 touchdowns. And although, I would like to see that happen tonight, the way that this total is dropping downwards because of the weather, the fact that his player props are well below that, it's a chance it happens, but it's a slim chance that all 3 of those wide receivers get you there. Stills or Trotman? Stills. You feel safe with over Kamara receiving at 30 and Lockett over 40? Lockett over 40 I like. I don't know where you got that number. Where'd you get the over 40 on Lockett? I'm seeing 45 and 48 everywhere. 44. The over 40 on Lockett looks really good. Kamara 30 is fine. It's fine. I got him projected for the upper 30s. It's fine. It's not great. It's a difference between 1 reception. I don't love it. I like his receptions more because Kamara catch 5 balls for 30 yards? Yeah, right? If Kamara catches 5 balls and gets the over 4 receptions, he's probably getting over 30 receiving yards. Don't think people realize how much work Sal puts in every week. Thank you for the content. Yeah, man, about 12 pieces of NFL content, and now with NBA starting up, it's a lot there. I mean, it's a lot of work. A lot more than people probably expect just because the shows seem like the only thing that I do. But I mean, just keeping up with the NBA projections in its own right. I have to update NBA projections as we're talking about this. I'm going to have to be updating them. Literally, the slate starts in 20 minutes. So I'm going to be updating them in about 5 minutes as we're talking through all this. So I'm going to try and multitask through that for the first time this year. Definitely not looking forward to that. Let me actually make sure that the slate starts at 7 and not 7:30. Because if it starts at 7:30, that's great for me. Nope, it starts at 6 Central Time. All right. Mr. Ryan Hodge, I'm over here just betting overs during a monsoon. Run good tonight, brother. What's up, Ryan? I appreciate the super chat, Hodge. I'm also betting overs. I'm also betting overs in these fucking games. I mean, I have over Kamara receptions, which is fine for Kamara in a monsoon, but I have over completions, over fantasy points for these quarterbacks, over passing yards. That's all the props that I have. I have a couple other props. The only unders that I have, though, is Collins. But I have a couple other props on DraftKings that are unders. but kind of like weird unders, like Gerald Everett under 2.5 receptions, like numbers that came out earlier. But yeah, I appreciate the super chat, Hodge. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game. Yeah, it was my birthday yesterday, bro. I sent you the props on Twitter. Shout out Dave for his birthday. Hopefully it was a lovely day, man. Waiver wire ads, drop Odell. Yeah, man, waiver wire ads for me, not really something I'm looking too much into these days. We're pretty deep into the season. If there's anything left on your waiver wire, unload the fab. That's the strategy at this point, right? If Khalil Herbert is somehow floating around on your waiver wire, unload the fab. Any 1K below plays on DK, if you're trying to punt below that range, the only things that look okay below 1K is Ty Montgomery, but with all the other value in the slate, you don't want to play a Ty Montgomery projected for 2.2 points when Kenny Stills is barely anything more and he's projecting for like 8 points. Sal, did you make up the phrase fly out of mayonnaise on the spot? Because if so, it's slept on. I thought fly in the mayonnaise I made up because it was what? Fly in the ointment? Is it like fly in the ointment is the saying? And I said fucking mayonnaise this morning. So yeah, I guess I made that shit up. You worried about Lattimore defense on DK? I would if I could hysterical laugh right now. And how funny that question is. Not anything to do with you. Just like the actual words, the sentence, not you. Just like the words that should I be worried about? 230-pound, huge hammer in the pants, DK Metcalf, more than likely, right? Come on. That monster of a man against Marshawn Lattimore tonight, I couldn't even come close to being worried. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore is a fine cornerback. He is a solid cornerback. He is not elite. The only elite shutdown cornerbacks in the league, Jair Alexander when he's healthy, Jalen Ramsey, and that might be it. Like Marlon Humphreys, just got torched for 250 yards, 200 against Jamar Chase, right? So, like, Jalen Ramsey gets torched by DK. I'm not too worried about that. Jair Alexander wouldn't even get to guard DK because he's so undersized. They would try and put Kevin King on him and he'd get torched. No, not a single man on this planet can guard DK Metcalf in a football game. Not a single man. I'm late. How's it going, Triple Fellas? It's going good. Stills and Trotman's in the same lineup. I prefer not to have them in the same lineup. Not against it. Is it crazy to have Stills in the captain spot? It's going to work out for you about 2% of the time, maybe 3%. Sal's the hardest working man in the biz. Probably not, but I would say definitely work hard. I don't know what the scale of comparison is. I'm sure there's some people grinding from day one right now, working like 100 hours a week. I'm not to that point anymore. What's the most amount of salary you leave on the table in a showdown? There's not a magic number. If you like your lineup and you have $2,300 left over, great. There's a lot of value today, so that makes sense. Like if you're playing Kenny Stills today, right? If you're playing a Kenny Stills today over a Gerald Everett, and that's leaving $3,000 on the table for you, I think that's completely fine. I think playing Kenny Stills over Gerald Everett is completely fine. Same stance as usual. Fuck the pump plays. Not on this slate. I mean, depends on what is your pump play. Kenny Stills looks good. Adam Trotman looks good. I'm probably not playing Ty Montgomery. I'm probably not playing Devine Ezigbo, but Kenny Stills, Adam Trotman look good. There's some reasons to play Freddie Swain and Juwan Johnson. They have less usage in terms of Juwan Johnson's routes, in terms of Freddie Swain's targets, but at least in play. Hey, Sally, sorry if you answered already. Single entry $1 contest. Kamara better suited for flex on that? It depends how many people are in the contest. It's single entry, so Kamara captain I'm probably leaning to still there, but depends how many people are in the contest. Who will be the RB2 behind Kamara? Should be a heavy running game because of bad weather. It's going to be Devine Ezigbo. This man right here, Devine Ezigbo, who actually was an undrafted free agent, originally signed by the Saints, then was cut before his rookie year, signed by Jacksonville, and was somewhat involved there before getting hurt. Last year, that was. Might have been the year before, actually. But Devine Ezigbo, $1,400. Yeah, he played 13% of the snaps, ran 7 routes last week. It's tough to get there when he's priced right next to Adam Trotman and, more importantly, Kenny Stills. It's just really, really tough to even consider getting there at that point. So, yeah. Howard couldn't handle pitch yesterday at the end of the game. Yeah, I mean, Xavier Howard, he's a solid cornerback. He's great. He had a lot of interceptions last year. You know who also had a lot of interceptions as a safety like 3 years ago? HaHa Clinton-Dix, and he's one of the worst safeties in the NFL. He's not even playing in the NFL right now, but he was one of the worst safeties in the NFL that whole time. Interceptions don't really mean much to me. Like Trevon Diggs for the Cowboys, he looks like a really good rookie cornerback. But what people don't tell you is the fact that he gets burnt a lot. Like he bites. There's a reason why he's getting all these interceptions and he's a playmaker, because he guesses. And when it starts to get on tape later in the year against better quarterbacks, and when it starts to get on tape over the next 1 to 2 years, he might become Josh Norman. He might. Right? He might become Josh Norman. When Josh Norman was on the Panthers, he bit a lot as a rookie. I know Trevon Diggs is in his second year, but he bit as a rookie Josh Norman. He would guess. He would gamble. He would say, I'm going to jump this route. And if it was a double move, it's a touchdown. It's a 40-yard gain. The safety has to make the tackle. Diggs is doing that all game long right now, right? He's not this sticky lockdown corner. He's a physical cornerback, right? He rattled up Devonta Smith, who's smaller. A lot of people can do that. But Diggs is a good cornerback. He's good, but he gambles. We'll see. We'll see what happens once guys get more tape on him. Why does everybody think Diggs is a rookie? Trevon Diggs is a second-year player. Trevon Diggs is a second-year player at Alabama, second-round pick. Pitts is becoming an animal on Sundays. Yeah, he's fantastic to watch. Is rain and wind going to be all that big of a factor? It's lowering the total, yes. Literally, the play after the pick six, Trayvon Diggs got burnt. Yeah, he got greedy again. Your team's leading with like 2 minutes left, and now you're trying to get another pick? I like the guy. I like him. But later in the season, when they face Tampa Bay in the playoffs or Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, Diggs is going to get burnt big. And you can rewind this tape. When they're in the playoffs and they're facing, maybe Russell Wilson comes back and they make it. When an experienced quarterback goes there and knows that this guy, especially in big moments, loves to guess, loves to gamble. All season long on this play, we've just ran a go route. This time, we're going to run a double move because it's specifically you, Diggs, and we're going to see if you're patient enough. And let me tell you right now, he's not going to be patient enough based on these first months. Everybody thinks the weather is the end-all be-all. It's not the end-all be-all. It's overrated, but in some games, if it's going to be a monsoon, like I'm the biggest weather is stupid thing. But I have always said if the weather drops the total, it's actually meaningful. The weather has dropped the total 2 to 2.5 points. It's meaningful. Best large field, 118 people captain. If you're playing one lineup in that, I would avoid Kamara unless it's single entry. Single entry, I think you could still play Kamara, but you're going to be splitting a lot of the way. We've got 1,000 people watching live. Appreciate all of you. All right, T. Let me start to update some of these NBA projections while answering questions and really trying to multitask this fucking thing. Can you explain why Penny is the worst play in the slate? I came in late. Yeah, what's going on, Chris? There's going to be 4 running backs active tonight, more than likely for the Seattle Seahawks. Rashad Penny is coming off of an injury. I expect him to see 4 or 5 touches. At his price point of 4 or 5 touches, especially when Adam Trotman, Kenny Stills, Jawan Johnson, Freddie Swain are cheaper than him, it's hard to like that. I haven't projected for 2.8 fantasy points tonight. I've got about 6 other guys who are similar or cheaper priced, better. And Rashad Penny, because of his name value still, and people thinking there's some hype around him playing, he's going to come in with a little bit more ownership. Not too great. Sal, how do you differentiate in a single entry lineup? Depends on the specific slate. What are the leverage plays in that specific slate? There's some today, Traquan Smith, Alvin Kamara, to an extent. Geno Smith, right? Which kicker has the edge? Neither. They're both going to be playing in the same weather. The experience goes to Jason Myers over Brian Johnson, the other guy's name, right? But neither. They both project out similar points. Just take the one that makes you more different or whichever one you like more, really, honestly. There's no real difference. Diggs is similar to Aqib Talib back in the day. People will figure him out. Gambles too much. Yeah, I think early on that's a good comparison. Somebody says projections are a scam. Could not disagree more, to be completely honest with you. How many points do you have Trotman projected for? I think I have Trotman for exactly... Adam Trotman for 5 points flat. 5 points flat today. So what do you got DK for? I need less than 7. I have DK for more than 7, about 14.5. How much Collins do you have total fade? I think in my single entry and 3 max, I'm not playing Collins. I have 17% Collins and 150 maxes, but I'm close to a total fade. Nah, Diggs is good, man. Yeah, I've said Diggs is a great player. He's a fantastic player to watch. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in the playoffs when they're facing veteran quarterbacks in a year or two. We'll see where Diggs ranks. He is not a lockdown, shutdown cornerback. Can he rattle guys up and play physical at the line of scrimmage? Yes. Yes, he can. Is he Jalen Ramsey in that regard? No, definitely not. No, definitely not. Does he gamble a lot? Yes. How you doing? Let's get it. Everybody hit the thank you money shot. Freddie Swain tonight, like 15, 20% decent play. Matthew Perry says he's got his girlfriend Amanda playing DFS now. Nice. Yeah, shout out to both of you. Callaway or Alex Collins PPR? Give me Callaway. I prefer the Saints kicker because I expect him to be leading. Yeah, I mean, him leading also doesn't matter. Like, what if the Saints score 3 touchdowns tonight? He gets 3 points, right? Like, the team leading doesn't really matter too much to me. I don't know shit about basketball. There you go. Big Pimpin', we know football and football knows me. Let's get these dollar skis on the NBA and Showdown slates today, says Sean Lewis. I appreciate the $5 super chat, Sean. Thank you. Mr. Patreon right there. I appreciate you a ton. I need to update now some of this NBA shit. So let's update some of this NBA shit. Yeah, so the total still is looking similar as to how it did earlier. 36 people in single entry, 10x booster. Everett, Myers, Swain, or Trotman. Pick one. I'd pick the kicker. I would pick the kicker in that if it's only 30-something people, and I would definitely go Kamara in the captain spot. That is my personal interests there. Alrighty, let's update this right here. Okay to play both Stills and Traquan in the same lineup for 50 man? Yeah, I think so. I mean, Stills at this point, it doesn't matter like how many guys from his same team are in there because he's so cheap. Like Stills at $1,400 pays off for you if he goes 3 catches, 40 yards, right? He's paying off for you at that price tag. And that's not taken away from really anybody on his team if he just has 40 catches or 40 yards in the game if Jameis is throwing for 220, somewhere around there, right? It's not really affecting it. I mean, Stills 4 catches, 25 yards is probably paying off for you at 6.5 fantasy points at that price tag. So Kenny Stills, to me, it's Alvin Kamara and Kenny Stills is the best plays in the slate. And they're on the same team, and that's completely fine. Kenny Stills, very cheap price point, makes it so that you can play him with anybody. You can play him with 4 other Saints. You can play him with 2 other Saints. 2 other receivers on the team. It doesn't matter too much to me because of how cheap and good his price point is for getting other people in there. For anybody who's watching this who is an NBA patron, if you're not an NBA patron, we now have ownership and an NBA optimizer along with all the other tools. I'm currently updating a final run of projections. Any change on SuperDraft picks? Same. In terms of the ones from the video this morning, that was just like an example lineup. I mean, there's a solid on SuperDraft today in terms of guys that like look solid. I would say guys that look solid today on SuperDraft about 12. Guys that look really solid on SuperDraft today, I would say about 7 or 8. So I would just shift between those guys. We can build a final SuperDraft lineup as we go through this here. Points for Lockett. I have Lockett a little just under 13 points today. It doesn't look great. I question, especially in the weather, if Geno Smith has it in him to kind of hit these touch pass deep balls to Lockett that he survives on. Now Lockett runs really good routes in the middle part of the field, especially as a slot receiver when he's playing in the slot, which is a lot of the time. But again, that's kind of timing routes, right? Which again, Geno Smith, another week of practice, that should help him a little bit. So I like Lockett, I would say, more on this showdown slate, much more on this showdown slate than I did against the Steelers. But I still like him less than Metcalf, less than Geno Smith when you factor in price point, projection, ownership, all that stuff. So that is my stance there. We are updating the projections on Patreon right now for the people in the streets. That will likely be the final update on the NBA projections. Little Jordan going to get much work? I don't think so. Little Jordan Humphrey has not played since week 2 in terms of running routes. Little Jordan Humphrey, Chris Hogan retired, so you might see, and Deontay Harris is out, but Traquan Smith will take those snaps. Kenny Stills has a growing role, and Ty Montgomery's there. So Little Jordan Humphrey would have to operate as the wide receiver 5 in a rainy game where Jameis hasn't thrown over 30 times this year. I don't think if I had a gun to my head and said, did Little Jordan Humphrey run a route tonight, I would say no. And if he does, it's going to be like 2 routes. And as a player who is slow, not that big, can't get separation on his 2 routes run tonight, I don't think he's going to be the first, second, or even third option. So I would say, barring a Hail Mary, Little Jordan Humphrey is probably not scoring. Literally like a Hail Mary. Like at the end of the half, they just get an extra receiver in the game who's at least bigger than like Traquan or something, or Ty Montgomery or something, right? Like other than that, no, I do not think that he's going to be much in play for anybody today. Unfortunately for Little Jordan Humphrey. I mean, he has been... since he was a rookie, not last year, the year before, in 2019, when there was actually a preseason, he had some nice games there, and he had some nice games this preseason getting in the end zone. But outside of preseason, no, Little Jordan Humphrey's game does not actually translate to the NFL. He is way too slow, in my opinion. I think some people would actually agree with that, at least if you follow the scouting process or anything on these guys. Tight end, running back, starting to look good. Also, defenses with the weather. Yeah, defenses look good with the weather. Seattle's defense looks good. You're facing Jameis Winston, right? Over under half of an interception, definitely in play today. Seattle's defense looks good when you factor in the weather, their price point, yeah, all that. They're another one of those plays that makes it really hard to play any of these running backs in Rashad Penny or Travis Homer. They're in the same price range and they look like way better options. Somebody says, Sal, you were gorgeous. Thanks, I appreciate that. Appreciate the love. Any Seattle running backs at all? I don't like any of them, no. No, I don't like it. Am I getting ownership to them? In 150 max lineups, barely. Like I'm getting like sprinkles of the teens of DJ Dallas and Alex Collins. But if you were playing anything with significant, if you're playing 1 lineup, 2 lineups, 3 lineups, 10 lineups, it's probably not till 20 lineups that I would get one of them. They look bad. Could be all Saints, but have Penny in the captain. No, definitely not. Can you wiggle your eyebrows back and forth? I sure can. I mean, I'm like The Rock, my man. I can do whatever I want with these bad boys. You can go like this. You can go one at a time. Can you smell what he's cooking, The Rock? You do some of this. Hey, how you doing? I'm fully fading Callaway. His price is ridiculous compared to the player and the weather conditions. Yeah, I think it is ridiculous. Yep. Does Stills for sure get the routes? I don't know how he doesn't. There's no Deontay Harris this week. Stills ran the routes last week. I mean, he's going to play. It's going to be interesting to see what happens today. Deontay Harris was playing the outside. Stills in the slot a lot last week, only 53% of the snaps. I think Traquan actually plays the slot tonight, and you might see more Stills. That being said, Stills is really cheap. He looks good. The weather is going to be a factor for every single player. He's cheap. 60% Kamara in the captain in a 20 max too much? No, I don't think it is. You're doing great, Sal, says Carter. Yeah, thanks. Traquan, a viable captain, not for me. I probably missed it, but can I get a captain list, top 4? Most contests, it's Alvin Kamara tonight. Don't try and get cute. But Kamara, the quarterbacks, and DK are probably the 4 best captains tonight. They are the 4 best captains for me, at least. But don't try and get cute. It's as simple as that. Kamara in most contests looks good in the captain spot. If I'm playing 150 max, I'm going to be over the field on Kamara. That's what I'm doing tonight. If I'm playing single entry, I'm playing Kamara. If I'm playing 3 max, I'm playing Kamara. The only way you probably don't play Kamara tonight is if you're playing in a 150 max contest and you're just playing 1 to like 10 lineups. Then you should probably start to get different. Should I drop Odell? Do I drop rookie Seals-Jones? Don't drop Seals-Jones until Logan Thomas is actually officially ruled back and in this week. Odell, depends on who's on your waiver wire. I would hold on to him. What are you projecting Stills for an ownership? I have Stills ownership projections right now for 32%. I'll probably run a final run on that after the stream, but I have it right now at 32% ownership. I'm not shocked that that's coming up. Do you like Everett tonight? Much prefer some other guys. Everett's price point is, in my opinion, a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much right now, Everett's price point. So what's the offensive line rankings for each team tonight? Let me pull up the matchup notes. Do you want run blocking or pass blocking? Let me pull up the week 7 matchup notes. Kicker viable or weather too bad? Kickers are fine, but much prefer the other value plays in terms of receivers and tight ends. Is Lutz active? No. Flacco going to do anything on the Jets? Did they sign Flacco? Did the Jets sign Flacco? They got him from the Eagles. My answer would be no to that, though. Favorite Seattle plays, DK Metcalf, Geno Smith. DK Metcalf, Geno Smith, Lockett. The defense, right? I mean, I have ownership to some other guys, but not in anything worth a damn. Troutman or Seattle defense, thanks, Sal. Ooh, Troutman or Seattle defense. I currently have more Troutman. Rogers in the captain. Of course, my man Michael Rogers in the captain all the time. What's up, Sal? How are you today? What's your favorite captain on SuperDraft? Kamara? On SuperDraft, I'll probably go Geno as my favorite to get different. Kamara is my highest projected, but Geno, I think, gets you a little bit different. What is Troutman's ownership projection? I have a Troutman currently projecting out for only 18% ownership. I turn this on, get my whiteboard and expo marker out, and plot. Keep it up, Sal. I appreciate that, Marcus. Thank you. DK and Lockett on the same lineup, a good idea. If you have those guys in the same lineup, you don't always need Geno in that because Geno can easily just suck. But if he sucks, those guys are probably not getting there. So I'd say if you have those guys in the same lineup with Geno's price point, I would want Geno too. $1K people watching and 240 likes should be illegal. Frauds, thumbs down. Rule to not get DK and Lockett in the same lineup due to bad correlation? No, I think you can definitely have those guys in the same lineup. I mean, there's no reason why you can't have 250 passing yards from Geno Smith tonight, 7 catches, 100 yards for DK, and 6 catches, 40 yards, and a touchdown for Lockett. Like, there's no reason that can't be a very likely outcome. Rashad Penny worth it? He's the worst play in this slate to me. Stills or Swain? Stills for me there. Weird one, but Everett or Myers for the 50-man single entry. I'll take the kicker. Myers or Everett in a Geno lineup. I'll take the kicker. Over Everett tonight. Everett's just not running the routes. Like, Everett's going to run 16 to 18 routes tonight. That's not good. He's not going to command. He's never going to be the number 1 read, right? Like, Everett is going to be behind Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf at least on most reads. So when Everett is at best your 3rd read in a run-first offense with a mobile quarterback and you're only running 16 routes, it's going to result in, 2 or 3 targets like last time, right? Thanks, Al. Hopefully you got a few more Twitter followers on Twitter today with my tweet. Yeah, man. I don't know if I retweeted any of it, but I'm sure I liked it. But yeah, if you're not already following over on Twitter, do yourself a favor and do it. If you're not already following over here on Twitter, by the way, Seattle's Inactives are out. I'll pull them up right now. If you're not following right here on YouTube, hit the follow button. These live streams are usually the way that we get our most traction. Inactives tonight. Nobody worth a damn on offense, so they are Jacob Eason, who they signed from the Colts, is inactive, if that helps you. They're running 4 running backs tonight. So everything we've been saying all video long holds true. Seattle has 4 active running backs tonight. I assume they're going to actually have at least all 4 of them take 1 snap. They all stink tonight in terms of plays. If you told me who is the best running back out of all 4 of them, it would have to be Alex Collins. But when you factor in the price, again, one of the worst plays on the slate, right? At least he's going to see touches. At least he's going to see 10 to 12 touches. The running backs on that team look terrible today. I don't want them. I don't even care what the game looks like in terms of it. I don't want them. They're facing a top 3 run defense. A top 3 run defense off of a bye, and there's 4 active running backs that are all likely to see work. Whenever you have 4 active running backs, it's usually a fade them all scenario in DFS. Juwan Johnson or Trotman? I'll take Trotman. Trotman has ran 74 routes to Johnson's only 44 in the season. I think Dallas is the worst play in the slate. At least Penny has the talent to break a run. I still won't get either. Yeah, I think they're all terrible. Here's the thing with Penny. He's going to see 5 touches, right? Like Alex Collins is going to see 14 touches. Penny will see 5. DJ Dallas will see 4 or 5. And Homner will see 1 or 2, right? Grant is out today, somebody said, for NBA. Be sure to update that if you're a Patreon member watching this. Grant is officially out, yes. The slate starts in 5 minutes, and it usually takes me about 5 minutes to update projections, so I can try and quickly get that updated now, but it's going to likely be a difficult endeavor. But let me try and do that quickly. Really quickly. I mean, it's so hard. I have to open up so many different things, and usually it slows down the computer, which is the worst thing for live streams. Going Lockett, captain, fuck it. Yeah, I mean, he's probably the 5th best captain option tonight behind DK, Kamara, and the 2 quarterbacks. I mean, it's not a terrible option. It's just not one that I'm personally on, but not a terrible option. Nice glasses, very posh. Did you get them from Elton John collection? I got them for, I think, $10, maybe $20. A 3-pack came on Amazon. They're blue light glasses. They're not actually, they're blue light because I look at a computer all day. So I have one for my backpack when I go to cafes. I have one for by my bed if I look at my phone late at night, which I try not to do. And then I keep one here in the office. It came in a 3-pack. I didn't actually know it was a 3-pack till I got it, but it was actually pretty beneficial once I found that it was a 3-pack because I actually do use that. Still going over the passing yards despite the weather. Yeah, I mean, I took them earlier. I still like them. The weather, I already knew about the weather when I took the passing yards. I think a lot of people don't think that I knew that the weather was going to be bad when I took those passing yards. I took the passing yards. I knew the weather was bad. So I'm completely okay with the passing yards. I assumed that the weather was going to be not good today when I got, or I already saw that they were not going to be good when I got them. So completely fine. Best captain for DK tonight, Alvin Kamara. You don't have to try and get too cute with it. It's Alvin Kamara. He's the obvious one. He is the best captain option tonight. He is the man of all mans. Alvin Kamara is the answer tonight. Again, other captains are going to be... Alvin Kamara will not be the winning captain the majority of the time. He won't be. What does the majority mean? 51+%. He won't be. He's going to be the winning captain about 40% of the time. So, yeah, 60% of the time somebody else will be the captain. But good luck trying to pick that guy out of all the guys who have like a 5% chance. More times than not, the best way to actually approach this type of a slate is by playing Alvin Kamara in the captain spot, unless you only are running 1 or 5 lineups in 150 max where you need to get ultimate leverage somewhere else, which means go away from him. Favorite SuperDraft plays tonight? I really like Geno Smith. I think Marquez Callaway looks the best on SuperDraft. I don't like his props. I don't like him all that much. I mean, he's not a terrible play on DraftKings, but I think he looks the best on SuperDraft tonight. I am updating the NBA projections one final time, and they will be good to go. Fade Stills or Trotman? I like Stills over Trotman. I think Stills is the second best play in the slate behind Kamara tonight. I think he's the second best play in the slate behind Kamara tonight. So hopefully that helps you with that. Alrighty. We are updating the NBA projections for the final time. Free Lockett, somebody says. Yeah, free Lockett. You need Russ back. Metcalf or Lockett? Metcalf for me. I mean, he's just a monster. He wins no matter what. He doesn't win in specific ways. He wins just because of his size and speed advantage against anybody. So the answer for me there is usually going to always be Metcalf. Everett or a kicker? I'll take Jason Myers or either kicker over Everett. Obviously, Everett has the higher ceiling due to touchdown upside, but I'll take the kickers more times than not there. Alrighty. So NBA projections have been officially updated. We are ready to rock. We are ready to roll. We're an hour or so from NBA. What is your favorite DraftKings contest? Single entry 3-max small field. There's not a specific name of a contest that I like more. I think some people play like the same ones. But single entry and 3-max small fields. Less than 1,000 people, ideally less than 500 people, ideally less than 300 people. The smaller the field size, the better. You will actually win money when you play in small field sizes. You will not win money when you're chasing the $1 million maker or some of those really bad contests on DraftKings that allow me to have probably a job because more people watch when there's million makers. It's just as truthful as it gets. But at the end of the day, those are the worst contests to actually win money in. So that's why we try and preach not to do that. And yesterday that paid off in a major way for a lot of people who are fellow patrons out there in the streets. It was a good time. You got a lot of Geno today? Yeah, I got a good amount of Geno. I'll tell you the exact amount once I am finished saving the NBA projections, which I just did. NBA is about to lock in a minute. The final projections are up. My Geno exposure today is... Geno Smith is my second highest owned captain, and I currently have 57% Geno, so that's a decent amount of Geno. Kicker or Traycon? Traycon for sure. Love the content, man. Keep it up. I appreciate that. If you have not yet already heard, have a great slate, Sal, you as well. If you have not yet already heard, Underdog, as of today, this is my prop on Underdog. I like Alex Collins under 6.5 receiving yards. Fingers crossed there's not a screen pass, but we like that number with 4 running backs active, and him being the worst of the pass catch running backs of the 4. Shouldn't be out there. And a mobile quarterback, so shouldn't be out there. Jameis over 17.5 completions. Underdog now has your first free bet up to $100. Just like Prize Picks deposit match if you're a first-time user. So now Underdog is doing that as well, which is fantastic. So this is the prop that I have on Underdog tonight. Again, the code SAL on any of these platforms. Just basically get your free money on Underdog, your first bet for free up to $100. And then these are my props, the same ones from the video this morning. And then I added 3 more. They're all on Patreon or on Twitter, by the way. I added Kamara over 4 receptions, over completions on Jameis, and over fantasy points. I have Geno right now for 16 fantasy points, so the over 13.5 was a good number. We'll see what the weather does. I'm interested by this game. I mean, I have the Saints -4. I obviously have a lot of DFS and props in play, but this is an interesting game, right? I mean, can Seattle somehow squeak out a win against a team off of a bye in the Saints that is a better team for sure on paper? Better defense, better quarterback, better running back, better defensive line and offensive line. Like, can they somehow squeak out a win Seattle here? Can they get it? And maybe if Russ can return in 2 weeks, this can be something. Is Patreon smarter to get at first of the month? You can get it whenever you want. If you're going to sign up right now, I can prorate you back to 3 weeks of unused. You just have to shoot me a Patreon DM when you get charged in November. So right now, it will charge you up front. I can't control that. Yes, it should be net 30 days. I don't know why it's not, but they don't do that. They process them the first of every month. So if you sign up for Patreon right now, they'll charge you whatever it is, $25 if that's the tier you choose, and then they'll charge you on the first of the month, which is bullshit. It's the reason they do that is to ensure creators get paid. Otherwise, if they don't do that, somebody can sign up on the 25th and cancel on the 29th, and then the creators never paid. I don't know why they don't just do a net 30 days. Apparently, they're working on it. They've been working on it for a fucking year, but we'll see. But what I can do is just prorate you back through PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, whatever it is. So if you sign up right now, any unused days that you have, so if you unused 25 days, I'll prorate back whatever that is. You just have to reach out to me the first of the month. Just sign up the Prize Picks, Sal. What's your best plays again? Yeah, here they are on the screen. These are the ones I like the most on Prize Picks. I'll slowly scroll down. Do you think Kamara is still a must-play on SuperDraft? Yeah, it looks like a really good play there. Sal, welcome to Austin. Come try Woody's Sports Bar in Bee Cave. Yo, Bee Cave is nice. I go to the Trader Joe's there sometimes. Hey, Sal, what are your Underdog props tonight? So here's some of my Prize Picks ones for the person that just asked. You can pause the screen if you need to. I'm just going to scroll through. These are my 2 Underdog props for the tonight. The problem with Underdog and Prize Picks is it's nice, but it's interesting. Underdog is where you're going to find better unders. So if you want an under on a player, Underdog is a spot to look for. Normally, they have higher numbers on their guys compared to Prize Picks. If you're looking for overs, you should always compare the two, but more times than not, just for me doing this for now 3 months, comparing the two for NFL, 2 months, well, with preseason, like 3 months. With me doing that, August, September, October, so yeah, 3 months, had to check myself. Just seeing the trends, Underdog usually sets their props higher, so unders look better there normally. Prize Picks usually sets their props a little lower. Overs usually look better there. Thanks for all your Prize Picks. They've been money, so time to jump on Underdog as well. Yeah, jump on Underdog. The best thing you can do, if you like Prize Picks, and we've been promoting it for a year now, if you like Prize Picks, you should also make an Underdog account if it's legal. You should always compare. You should shop your lines as much as you can, right? The over completions, I have it on both sites right now, but the over completions is 16.5 for Jameis. It's 17.5. 16.5 on Prize Picks, 17.5 on Prize Picks. If you want the over there, you should take the over on Prize Picks. Now you can take it on both sites if you want to pair it up. That's what I did. But if you just want the over 16.5 on one site, you take it on Prize Picks. If you want the under on Alex Collins, it's under 6.5 yards on Underdog. It's not offered on Prize Picks, right? They're just compare your props. You can get the over total yardage for running backs on Underdog. They don't do that on Prize Picks, right? Thanks for the tip. Yeah, no problem. Underdog will have, or Prize Picks will have more offerings. So I go to Prize Picks first. They have fantasy points. I like that. They have way more props than Underdog. But Underdog specifically is going to have some nice props, right? We shop there as well. Hit that like. Let's go. Let's do it. Traquan or Alex Collins? Traquan. Jameis or Geno? I'll take barely Geno, but I like both. Juwan Johnson or Swain? Juwan Johnson or Swain? I'm going to go with Swain. He's going to run way more routes. Swain ran 29 routes in his last game. Juwan Johnson runs 8 routes a game. Sal, do you have Patreon split up with price between different sports? Would only want NFL? Yeah, I do. Just here, I'll send you the link to the page. I'll send the link to everybody. The page that sends you right to the tiers page. You just skip the page where it's my home page and you go right to what are the packages. I'm going to send you that right now. It'll show you the specific packages. I have just NFL packages. Yes, sir. So there you go. There's the link to that. Sally, my boy, thanks for the work you do. Yeah, no problem. Do we know if Lux is active? He is not active tonight. No. It is Brian Johnson. The last time that I actually looked, which I believe it is still. 4for4 Fantasy. Just follow me on Twitter. I have heard of 4for4 Fantasy. I'm trying to think. 4for4 Fantasy, they tracked Underdog ADP. That's what I use them the most for. Alex Collins is officially active, and that's all you need to know for tonight in terms of actives and inactives. I'll check the New Orleans Saints inactives. for anybody still trying to figure out that. New Orleans Saints inactives tonight. Saints inactives are nobody. Traquan was activated from IR. That's all you need to know. Davenport and Quan Alexander are inactive for the Saints, so less guys up front. They've been hurt. What's your underdog code? The code is SAL. On any promotion that I use, SuperDraft, Underdog, Prize Picks, our sponsors, our three main sponsors of the show. Odds Jam, if you're looking for odds comparison, SAL. I try and keep it to SAL for everything. If it's not, I'll let you know, but it's SAL basically for everything. Sal, too bad we can't play the Panthers tonight, says Lawrence Ross. Any Rashad Penny? I don't like him, no. What's Sal? I finally joined Patreon today. Let's get it. $Whiskies. Let's go. Levelhead. Let's go. Send me that link, Sal, says Colton. To Patreon? The link to Patreon is in the chat right now. There you go. What's your thoughts on Still's percentage? I think it's fine. I think Still should be 50+% on tonight, and he won't be. Unless you're playing in higher stakes. That's the only way. That's the only way that'll come close to that number. I use your stuff for sports betting on MGM and FanDuel. We'd love to hear that. Trust me, the NBA package with his NFL. Yeah. The NBA package with the NFL is great. NBA slate just started for tonight. Trotman or Seattle defense? Ooh-wee. Trotman or Seattle defense? That's a tough one. Let me see. I have more Trotman, but if you're talking about just for one specific lineup, oh, that's tough. I think I'm going to go Seattle defense. Alrighty, gang. We've been live for a good amount of time right now. We're peaking. We're around 1,100 viewers. Sal, you wouldn't by chance have the number of plays Swain had in the red zone last week, would you? Yeah, I can get you that very... how many routes he ran in the red zone? No. I can tell you how many targets he saw in the red zone, which is probably going to be low. But how many routes he ran in the red zone? No. I don't have that number for you. What I do have is his total routes run, and I do have his targets in general. So last week, Freddie Swain ran 28 routes. He saw 3 targets, 0 red zone targets, 2 receptions for -4 yards, 1.6 fantasy points. Whether looking decent per beats on Twitter. Is Metcalf pinned you down? Would you oblige? Yes, I would scream in terror. I would scream in terror if that happened to me. Yes. Somebody says, watch your language. Fuck no. Have you ever watched CFL and made a bet on DK? No. I've never watched CFL. I have nothing against it. I've just never watched it. I love the XFL. That's coming back now in 2023. I can't wait. I got to wait over a year and a half, though. Why don't you like Penny tonight? There's 4 running backs active. There's 4 running backs going to play tonight for Seattle. In a slow-paced, bad-weather game, Rashad Penny is coming off of injury where he's had problem with his fucking lower body. I don't think they're going to run him 20 times. Rashad Penny is going to operate probably as the running back 3 tonight. DJ Dallas, the primary pass-catching running back. Alex Collins, the primary running back. And then Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny is going to touch the ball more times than not, 4 to 5 times tonight. 4 to 5 times for inefficiency behind a bad offensive line versus one of the best defensive run-stopping lines in the league. Albeit without Davenport and Alexander, still one of the best. Crazy that they can still do that. So, yes, Rashad Penny's, what do I have him projected for? I have Rashad Penny today projected for 3.1 fantasy points. I currently have Rashad Penny as for anybody that I have projected for more than 1 fantasy point today, Rashad Penny I currently have as the 3rd worst play in the slate. Only Will Dissly and Travis Homer were grayed out worse. Everett or Myers, I'll take Myers. You think Everett is going to cash in on a day after National Tight End Day? I have some Everett, but I'm not playing him in single entry. When I signed up for Underdog, they were only offering 25. Any chance of them opening up a new limit to existing users? You would have to ask them. Not something I can control. My guess would be no, because this is just first-time deposits. That just happens, right? Like if you go to the store and you're at the store and 2 weeks ago that they were offering a 50% discount on the shoes, and now they're not going to give you that discount, right? I mean, you can reach out to them. The best thing you can do is reach out to Underdog and say, hey, I signed up a week ago, 2 weeks ago. If you signed up like 3 months ago, they're going to say no. But if you're like, hey, I signed up yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I just missed out on this new offer. Is there any way I can get that credit? There's a chance they say yes, but it's just like anything else, right? Just like any other promo. Black Friday deals only last 3 days. If you come through a week later, it's not going to work, right? Thanks for answering my CFL question. No problem. I like Dallas. Am I drunk? Think they get down early. DJ Dallas, I'm not really interested in single entry in 3 max. Best GBP captain, Alvin Kamara. Ty Montgomery, tough to get to Montgomery with all these other values today. Just really tough. Really tough. If you're looking for a guy below 1,000, sure, but I don't think you need that guy today. I know it's not DFS, but who do you got for the spread? I took the Saints -5. I took the Saints -4 earlier in the week, so I have the Saints -4 tonight. Give me your 2 best power play on Prize Picks right now. Community live prop. Yeah, we can end on that. I don't have any interest in power plays, but if you wanted to go power play, we can pull up the board. So, I mean, I still like Geno's over fantasy points. Have they added anything else? Adam Trotman over 4 is not terrible, but not great. They still have Deontay Harris on this fucking board. Jesus Christ. So, I mean, Geno's is the best fantasy point number, but it's kind of the same shit. Like, I like the over passing yards still in these guys. I like over Jameis's rushing yards, but I'm not going to touch it. I don't like it enough. I only have it by like a yard or two. So, I mean, let's do this. Let's do the over Kamara 4 receptions. I mean, I already have this prop. I'm not going to take it again, right? I was going to say the over Kamara 4 receptions and over Geno, 13.5 fantasy points. I also have the Jameis in that one. But, yeah, I mean, that's the one that I like. So, I don't want to add the same prop a second time. I don't need more action on this. So, yeah. My favorite prop on the entire night, though, is without a doubt Alex Collins under 6.5 receiving yards. It sounds so weird, but that's the one that I like the most. Alex Collins under 6.5 receiving yards. He's coming off of a game with -3 receiving yards, right? And not only that, but now Rashad Penny is active, and now the weather is worse. Yeah. So that's probably my favorite prop. Callaway or Traquan Smith? If I had to choose one, factoring in price, Traquan. Alrighty, gang. I appreciate you all a ton. Thank you for tuning in today. Before you go, hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next one. Tomorrow morning, we have our first look. Wednesday morning, the betting video. Wednesday night, Thursday night football video. Thursday values and Thursday night football. And you know, the whole schedule is posted up on Twitter. If you're not following me there yet, go to Vetri DFS on Twitter. I'm going to get some food. The slate starts in an hour. Enjoy the NBA slate if you're playing that. Enjoy this slate. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be fun. There'll be some, you get to see DK Metcalf running around with his massive fucking penis. So this is going to be a good time, right? All right. Peace out, gang. Best of luck today. Enjoy the slate. Enjoy your time with family, friends, yourself, whatever you got to do. See you in the next one. When they ask you where the Dalaruskis came from and where'd you get those fine glasses, right? When they come up to you and say, damn, where'd you get those glasses, boy? You're looking awfully peculiar in them glasses, right? How'd you pull off that look in that Hawaiian shirt? How'd you do that? You just put them on. You put them low like this. You let these big old bushy guys. And you go, hey, how'd I get this? How'd I afford all this? How'd I find the money for this? I earned it. How? You might ask. Your pants are around your waist. Everything's hanging out. Oh, my God. What's happening here? Right? It's because I know football, and football knows me. Best of luck tonight. And the props, the DFS, and the betting. Do what you got to do. Do the rain dance. It's going to rain in this game. Whatever you got to do. Do it all. Best of luck. See you in the next one. Peace.